Hi, I'm Tallulah.
I'm Ella.
And I'm Aaron.
And we're from the Santa Barbara Middle School Teen Press. And today we're here with
CHIARA.
Nice to meet you, CHIARA.
Nice to meet you, Tallulah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ella. Nice to meet you, Aaron.
Nice to meet you.
So CHIARA, you're one of our newest staff members here at Santa Barbara Middle School. Welcome. What did you want to be when you were our age?
I wanted to be an actress.
And how did this change?
Oh. I just never auditioned for anything. Actually, that's not true. I did summer stock with Eric and Maureen, and I loved theater, and then I did proximity with Eric's daughter, Kira, and then I was going to move to New York and audition, but then Kira got pregnant and stayed in Santa Barbara, and so I just moved to New York and never did anything to do with acting again.
We heard that you were first introduced to SBMS through Big E's summer program, Summer Stock. How did you find Big E's program?
My brother, who is 47 or something, he was the producer for Aftermath. Eric Lehman made a movie like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and my brother was the producer of it. And then while my brother and him were hanging out, he was like, I have a theater program, your little sister should be in it. And that's how I met Eric.
Since you worked with an acting program, tell us about what plays you were in.
The first play I did was Mermaid's Tale. And let's see, I don't know, I've been in a lot of plays. I've been in Dracula, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Aftermath the play that was rewritten by Eric's original screenplay. A lot of plays. I've been in a lot of plays.
Was there a play that you did that you liked the best? If so, what type of play was it? Why did you like performing it?
We did a play with Proximity Theater Company. Should I look at the camera?
No.
Okay. We did a play with Proximity Theater Company called The Marvelous Story of Shandy Wilkes, which was written by a woman named Karina Richardson, who was like a young girl also at the time. And it was a story about a girl that had mirrors behind her eyes. The reason I liked that play is because it was written specifically for our theater company, and I did it with Jake Himovitz, who's also an alum of this school.
What did you find most interesting about the play?
What I found most interesting about that play was that it was all written by everyone that was there, and Karina Richardson and directors, so it was like an actual collaborative piece from the theater company. And then we traveled that show to New York, which was exciting.
What drew you into performing?
It's like you guys knew I was going to say I wanted to be an actress. What drew me to performing? I love to be in front of people. I love to be on stage. When I was a little girl, I just like immediately had an affinity for it. I don't know. There's no other option.
We heard that in high school you were really into sports. Tell us about the sport that really appealed to you.
I don't know who told you that, but I never played one sport in high school, so that's a lie. I was in theater, and I was in choir, I was in madrigals, and I was in independent PE, aka I was the team manager for my girls volleyball team because all my friends were on the volleyball team, and I had to play a sport, but I did not want to. I also failed out of PE in kindergarten, and I failed out of PE in junior high, and then I was in independent PE in high school. So not any sports ever at all, just really
Oh. That skips everything.
Yeah.
So we know you grew up in Santa Barbara, then moved to New York. What motivated you to make that move?
I've always wanted to live in New York my whole life, so I decided to move there like when I was 5. I was like, I'll move to New York. And then as soon as I turned 18, I was like, okay, great.
So what was the biggest difference that struck you when you moved? In your opinion, how did the two compare?
I really was kind of not into Santa Barbara when I was first born here because I really don't like, well, I didn't like the beach and I didn't like physical activity. And so I thought, oh, I'll move to New York and everything's at a much faster pace. There's just more things that I'm interested in. So the change for me was really awesome. And I never thought I'd ever move back until randomly I decided last year, oh, I think I should leave. So, yeah, I don't know.
We understand that in New York you worked for the iconic and successful designer Ralph Lauren. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Do you want me to hold this? Is this okay for you? Okay. I work for Ralph Lauren, yes. Originally, I worked in a hotel, and that hotel I worked at every single day. I went to this coffee shop, and the barista of that coffee shop opened a coffee shop for Ralph Lauren. So he was like, come visit me. I went to visit him. The director of operations came by one day and saw me and was like, you have the right look that we're going for. We're opening this restaurant for Ralph Lauren. You should come work at it. So I did. I was Ralph's personal server. Then I was the manager of the restaurant, the service director, and then the assistant general manager of the restaurant.
What was your favorite part about working for him?
He's really sweet. So he's now probably 77. He was 74 when I first started working for him. And he's a really sweet, soft-spoken little man. And he really cares about all of his employees. So he would talk to me all the time about how I'm doing, what's going on with my life. I really liked that.
Tell us a little bit about Fashion Week. What is it?
Fashion Week happens all over the world, different times. So New York Fashion Week obviously happens in New York. It's basically a time where all the top designers put on shows. For Mr. Lauren, his shows are very thematic, and they're the entire place. So it's not just like a runway and the girls. It is an entire restaurant completely redone, completely remade head to toe from his vision, because he's really wanted to be a movie director when he was younger. Didn't really describe what Fashion Week is. Fashion Week is fashion shows, that's what it is, and it's all the best of the people.
What experience did you gain while working for Ralph Lauren during Fashion Week?
Really how to work in a quick way, how to work with high profile people, how to command employees and people and just be like, this is what's happening, and kind of cut through all the riffraff.
What was the most useful thing you learned while working for Ralph Lauren that you still use to this day?
Mr. Lauren has a really big sense of humor, and everyone around him appreciates that, and I think it's probably the easiest way to work with people is to maintain your sense of humor and just kind of see the brevity and lightness of things. So I took that from him for sure.
Why were you interested in SBMS, and was there anything that stood out to you?
When I was younger, I actually used to I really wanted to go to SBMS when I was a little girl. It never happened for me. But I also thought it was funny because I think bike trips are funny, and I think that whole thing is funny. It's just not my thing. That being said, as an adult, as I grow up, I want to be more well-rounded and not just stuck in my ways all the time. So it seemed like a really awesome place to come and learn new things, like jumping into the ocean for sunrise swim, going on these bike trips, camping, all of these things that I never did as a child that I actually really would love to learn the skills of.
So how did Santa Barbara change over time?
Oh, it's really LA now. It is all big stores. It's very corporate. There's a lot of traffic. There's nowhere to park. Those are the main differences that you can really tell. Rent is higher, but it's always been expensive since I was a child. That's the main difference.
And how is working for SBMS different than working for Ralph Lauren?
I would just go ahead and say simply every single thing about working here is different than working for Ralph Lauren. It is the exact opposite work environment in the best way. The only thing that's similar is that it's really collaborative here and everyone really gets along, and it was like that for Ralph Lauren. The employees and I really jived, so that was great.
So if you could give advice to yourself when you were our age, what would it be and why?
I would advise my younger self and people of your age to try everything and see what sticks. I think people tend to be really closed-minded and stick to their story, like, I'm an actress, I don't do sports, whatever, and then because of that, never explore an entire world of things that could be so magical and healthier for myself.
If you could give us any homework assignment, what would it be and why?
That's a good one. I think the homework assignment I would probably give is to sit alone in a room by yourself and breathe and notice your energy from the top of your head all the way down to your toes and just kind of like get in touch with yourself for a second and see, ooh, where am I holding tension? What's happening? What's going on? What's going on in my brain? What do I think about all the time? And then do like a 5-page free write and just see what comes up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Great job. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Great job.